Hi,
He's dead.
and he's David,
He's a thief.
and he's French. And together we are today.
We really need to get some explosion effects in there.
So we just saw Bastille Day. Nice timing there, dude. And what do we think of it?
Well, that's what this video is for.
Let's go on to the positives, shall we then?
I'm going to go right into this, straight to the positives.
Let's do this.
Positives. Idris Elba. I like his actor. Kind of cool.
Don't you mean you like him as an actor?
Yeah.
It wasn't somebody playing Idris Elba. Idris Elba was playing a character.
Okay. It's kind of a negative what I was going to go about. One sec. Okay, positive. I liked the thief in the film.
Yes.
I liked his character.
Yes, he'd be pretty cool.
He was kind of smooth operator-ish but in the sense of he's good at what he does in the thievery.
Yeah, he wasn't like cocky or smarmy.
He was just confident and smart to an extent.
He messed up big though.
Yeah, he done
yeah, he done messed up, yeah.
Too good.
I would have to go with this as well, saying Idris Elba in this movie is pretty good. It doesn't really push the boat out as far as roles go, but he certainly gives a solid performance in this, and a certain amount of ass kicking, and hands out a certain amount of ass whooping.
Yeah, the ass whooping is decent.
Let's talk about that. In fact, with one particular ass whooping towards the end, in a van, and that is a very nice scene. That is a pretty nice fight.
Yeah. There's also nice parkour moments where they're running around the top of buildings and you just noping at the idea of falling off, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, there is a particularly nice little rooftop segment in this.
Like he is chasing him and he literally bashes through some glass and stuff, which is cool.
I would also like to say that France, in fact Paris, is a very interesting setting for this movie. You don't see a lot of movies set in France and Europe in general.
It's usually either America.
It's usually somewhere in America. Yeah.
Or London sometimes.
Sometimes London, but then if it is London, it's usually London because some big thematic reason.
Yeah.
But this is sort of just set in Paris because it's Paris, because that's what they've decided to go with.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Not many people speak French in it, though.
There is quite a bit of French in this movie, actually.
Is there?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of French.
I've never noticed anyone talking in French.
No, a lot of people end up talking in French, and it's just the three main characters all speak English to each other.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. To be fair, there isn't loads of talking in this film.
To be fair, there's not a lot of all that much dialogue in this film.
We'll get onto that soon.
Yeah. There's also the character of Zoe in this, about the only person whose name I remembered in this.
Yeah.
She has a fairly interesting little character arc in this. She sort of starts off not in league with, but in some kind of relationship with a dude who wants her to plant a bomb somewhere, thus starting the chain of events that leads us to the big finale.
Basically, she mixed with the wrong people without realising.
Yeah, and it is quite interesting to see her really scared and scared of that. There's also some nice visual moments in this, particularly the first 10-15 minutes of this film are actually shot really nicely. Particularly that bit at the start with the party and the lady. And he doesn't have any clothes on.
Yeah. And the bit when he steps backwards off the train and stuff.
Yeah, but that's cool. But there was some really nice little bits of drama at the start. And I think... You got any more positives there?
I liked... Well, I know there's a bomb in this, so I can mention...
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I liked the bomb scene.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning.
That was actually pretty good. That was pretty tense.
Yeah.
Has like a whole will the bomb go off, won't the bomb go off? It's all quite tense.
And there's a timer on it, but you don't know the timer. So you're
Yeah.
like, that's gonna go off at some point.
Like that could go off in an hour, it could go off in 5 minutes, it could go off just about now. But yeah, it's pretty damn tense.
Yeah. And I think that leaves us to the negatives.
Me being a negative Nancy again.
Yep, you can be the negative Nancy.
It's official. I'm always the guy who's negatives.
I mean, I have a few negatives of my own, but I think you're the leader, you're the negative Nancy. You gotta begin it.
Okay. I think if you ever need a good example of why a director is important to a movie, this is a good example. Because whilst it is competent, broadly, there's nothing horribly wrong with it. There are certain editorial and just like composition and general choices throughout the film that feel sloppy or unenergetic.
Yeah.
And that really doesn't work in an action movie. The last thing you want your action movie to feel is lethargic.
Lacking energy or tenseness.
Yeah, and one particular scene towards the end in which there is a pitched gunfight, it kind of didn't make me feel anything.
Yeah, there were lots of bits in this film where you're just like, oh, it happened, but I didn't feel connected to it.
Yeah.
Almost distant from the film.
Yeah. And there's other things like certain scenes don't breathe like they should, if you kind of get what I mean. Like the scenes just end and then abruptly cut to the next scene. So it's sort of like, this scene has happened now, it has done advancing the plot, so here is the next scene which will continue advancing the plot.
It's almost like
yeah.
it can't decide whether it's a fast-paced action film or a kind of slow-paced film, because at the same time it doesn't... It's like it's trying to keep the story going, but it doesn't take the breather parts, but it doesn't also rush it.
You know, I think this might have actually been directed or had some input from somebody who's done a lot of drama work before.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of work on drama films. Like, I get that, because as I mentioned, the more dramatic elements towards the start, that was really good. It's only when the action starts that this film starts to go downhill.
So you think the director might not have worked with an action director kind of film?
I think this might have been the director's first attempt at an action movie. I might be wrong. It could turn out that this is that person's only misstep. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't feel like an action movie should to me.
Yeah.
I got lots of kind of limp kind of feelings to certain things. Felt weird. You got anything?
Yeah, I have two things.
Go on.
Everybody seemed kind of invincible. Like, in the van scene, they're getting thrown around the van, and there are things that happen to people that I know it's an action movie and people have a bigger limit of, I can take more hits, but when you're a civilian that's getting pounded on you, you're like, I'm chill. And then they just walk away from it unscathed. It feels a bit weird. They're not left with bruises or anything.
Yeah, I get what you're on about.
And I don't know, the bad guys can take loads of hits, and I guess that makes sense, but...
Something about this film made that seem a little more weird than it normally was.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. When you watch one of the, big fights in, say, Fury Road, you feel the weight of every punch, and it's they're just they're hanging up, this is skin of your teeth kind of stuff. Not
to say the van scene wasn't bad, it was pretty cool watching.
Yeah, the van scene was pretty cool, but...
No weight to the hits.
Yeah.
No, it felt no threat to an extent.
Yeah. I get you. There was another one,
And the other one is, I felt there wasn't a lot of talking, or, it's we got the basic backstory for the characters, but there was no... I don't know, it's just this is this guy, this is a thief, this is a cop. And then it doesn't really develop on it. It just kind of goes, okay, that's what they are.
Yeah, it pretty much takes about 15, 20 minutes towards the start of the movie to basically just throw exposition at the camera, like, this is this person, remember, this is this person's characteristics, now this is this person, this is this person's characteristics, okay, we good, everyone clear, make the action happen.
Idris Elba doesn't speak much.
And somebody made the horrible decision of giving him an American accent.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are other big black dudes that you could get who were actually American. I'm trying to think of some names. Jamie Foxx is jumping out. He's not actually jumping out at me, but the name is jumping out at me. Yeah. There's got to be somebody who's actually American who would have fit that role, because again, I love me some Idris Elba. Guy's great. Guy was God in Luther.
I think it's like they've put Luther in an action film.
Yes.
That's how it feels, and it doesn't feel right, because Luther, as much as he's like a detective-y cop dude, he doesn't feel like he should be doing action. They should have changed the character a little.
Yeah, it did. I get you. It did actually feel like they just tried to put Luther in an action movie.
Yeah.
And that didn't come off too well. And back to my problem, and I'm going to say I don't think a crane operator would have hurt this, because some of the fights are okay, but when they start running and when things get intense, the shaky cam ramps up to 11. It's like, oh, I think I just got 3 consecutive short shots of somebody's crotch. I think somebody got stabbed. Like, gee, this fight scene would be a lot cooler if I could see what's going on cohesively.
Yeah.
I just don't get shaky cam. If I'm allowed to soapbox for a moment, it seems the opposite of what cinema is designed to do. The idea of a film is that you present a story as clearly as you can through a visual medium. Presenting that and not deliberately shaking the camera around would be like reading a book to somebody, but when something in the book gets intense, you start going, and then this person, like that.
I can't stand it in fight scenes where they start fighting, but instead of the camera watching them fight, it kind of goes, let's look at his back and elbow for a little while and stuff like that, and then it's like, shaky cam, look, there's their legs, they're moving, and it's like, I want to see what they're doing. Let me see them fight. Or is that just me?
Oh, don't worry, I get that as well. Those
lazy.
Yeah. Also, it went hardcore Henry mode for like a split second in this. It went first person for a moment. It was a bit weird. Like, having seen a first person action movie now, any time that I see like a first person section in a movie now, that's all I'm going to think of. It's kind of jarring to see these one or two first person shots like pop up throughout the film. Like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
And like, again, the final fight scene.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
It wasn't there.
I don't know if it was like badly filmed or again like badly directed, or maybe there was like too much or too little sound going on, but something felt amiss. It didn't feel like a pitched battle between like a whole bunch of goons and Idris Elba going blam blam blam. Like the idea of like fighting with like a big shield, that was a cool idea. Yeah, it was a cool idea, but something in its execution fell flat. Like, I didn't feel that there was any kind of threat in that situation. Like, I don't know whether the guns were like firing a little too slowly. I thought like, I can't put my finger on it. What I'm saying, I can't put my finger on why. that fight scene did nothing for me, but that gunfight did nothing for me.
Also, the smiley masks, or is that spoiler?
Oh, I think we can go on that.
Yeah, I wasn't. They kind of went with this whole anonymous thing, but it felt weird that they hadn't used the actual anonymous thing.
Yeah, like throughout the movie, there's this theme of like hashtag movements, and
Yeah.
it's all trying to be very modern, and sort of incorporate the whole like Occupy movement that happened a few years ago. So like echoes of that, but they're all wearing these weird yellow masks,
And it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, like it's. I know I know what you're trying to do. You're making a sort of indirect reference to that whole Occupy movement, but in the by not using the V for Vendetta masks, it's weird. It seems weird that you're
It's
not
like,
using
it's
it.
almost like it feels like it's no longer our universe.
Yeah, it feels really weird. Although I must give them credit, the masks were intimidating.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that coming in your house and like bashing up your place. That would freak the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Like, nope, you can take my TV, get out.
We're wimps. Yeah. Any other negatives here?
Nah.
And I think that leads us on to the verdict. So, Liam, what do you give Bastille Day?
Sadly, I would rather go watch Rogue Nation or Hardcore Henry. I'm gonna have to say I don't know, I'm gonna give it a 0. Begrudgingly, I mean it's an alright film, but
Yeah.
I didn't come out of it feeling like I just came out like I watched that. So I'm gonna, if you want to see it, go see it. But like I don't know.
I'm gonna have to go the same way here. I'm going to give it a 0, making this our first unanimous 0, first unanimous 0.
We've seen loads of films and they've always been really great, but when I came out of this one, I just felt kind of like, well, that passed some time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to give it a 0.
Which was a real pity because like I want to see Idris Elba in a proper action role. This could have been Taken levels of good.
Yeah, and he was good in Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
And he was like canceling the apocalypse and all that.
We know this guy has the like physical presence and all that for an action film. He is destined to play a role in a great action movie.
It's almost like he was
some point
restrained, by the skill of a director,
or at some point something happened.
Yeah.
To like pull it down, and again, I do think it comes down to poor directorial choices.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other reason why the whole thing cohesively feels a little bit flat. It's not a bad movie. I can't say it's bad, but I really can't say I came out of there feeling
satisfied.
Yeah. I came out like, that was okay, I guess.
So, sorry Bastille Day, but we, in our opinion, kind of not worth watching.
Definitely not worth getting a Limitless for.
Yeah. Like, if it comes on TV, go for it, but cinema, it's just kind of...
Yeah, it's not worth the price of admission, I don't think.
So yeah, our first film where we've said don't go see it.
Yeah.
Feels kind of weird. Kind of don't want to say it. I didn't want that to come out of my mouth. I like films.
Yeah. Well, I suppose it had to happen eventually. It's kind of like a rite of passage. You got to slag off a movie at some point.
Shall we go into the spoilers?
I think we should go on into the
spoilers! Yeah.
Let's talk about that end scene, shall we?
Where the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the thief dude like makes a runaway, and you think, oh no, he's taking the money, and he's gonna like hightail it, and you're like, oh no. But then like he meets with this guy who's gonna give him a passport, but it turns out to be the French ambassador, who's the bad guy, and he's just there like, hello, come with me, and then he's like getting the cupboard, and it's like, oh no, and it feels silly, and then he like, ugh. And then the thief just takes the thingy back anyway, and it'll just. But it is cool when Idris Elba comes out and shoots the thief, and you just are like, I didn't think you were gonna shoot me. Because even the bad guy's like, oh. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, there is a kind of cool line. It's just like, I'm reckless and irresponsible, remember? Which is like and like I can't remember if he actually caps the guy or he just gets arrested.
I don't think he ever actually shoots. No, wait, he shoots some of the bad guys in the building, but he doesn't actually kill any civilians.
He doesn't actually cap the gun.
He sticks a gun in someone's mouth.
Oh yeah,
at
that's
least
cool.
twice. I'm pretty sure.
I know there was one instance of guns being put in.
He like pushing them into people.
Yeah,
like he pushed it into some dude's shoulder and stuff, and it's like, oh god.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit more about the van fight, shall we?
Okay, you go.
Basically, it's the I think it's the best part of the movie that isn't the first 20 or so minutes, because it is a nice little fight. Not the best filmed, but it is quite satisfying. It feels crunchy, and it's one of the only parts of the movie that feels quick and satisfying.
Kind of like 5 people in the back of the van just kind of pretty much bouncing around.
It's 5 people in the back of a moving van wailing on each other.
And the driver gets shot, so the van's like speeding up and all that jazz.
Yeah, like that was cool. That was actually a nice bit.
Yeah.
That bit stands head and shoulders above the rest of it. Stands head and shoulders above the rest of the film. Which is a pity, really, considering the fight that came later.
Yeah. The girl on the roof, there was a blonde girl who was one of the main characters, and she was like the one who was like, Idris Elba, I got you into this position. I can't remember his name, so Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Or Luther. And like...
Let's go with Luther.
She like... Yeah, okay, so she's the one who like got Luther into the job and stuff, and then she's on the roof with the ambassador like, oh yeah, we know that there's some evil police in your force, you want to go check them out, and then she dies abruptly, and you're like, betrayed trust. And it was just full of film.
It's so sudden,
It's one of the parts in the films where I actually felt something, and then it went numb again after everything else.
It was just one moment where it was genuinely unexpected. I knew he was bent. Like, we know he's corrupt as all hell, but none of us expected him to just execute her on the spot that quickly.
Especially since no one had been shot yet, and it was just pop, and it was like, oh, I liked her. Yeah, you were friends. You've known each other for 8. Why? Yeah.
Just again, it's a pity that kind of like visceral quality very rarely rears its head again in the movie.
Yeah.
One of the cool bits I think of this was the end of the first like big chase scene, which I think happens for some pretty contrived dumb reasons.
Yeah.
But the fight comes to an end when Luther just clotheslines this guy when he's trying to get away on a moped.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a nice bit.
Yeah, and you think the thief guy thinks he's got away. He just gets powed.
And then he gets put into a kind of cool like safe house. That's cool.
Also, I never noticed this, but Idris Elba is freaking massive.
Yeah, he's super tall.
He's super big.
Like when you see him standing, he's like, "Hey, Idris, how you doing?"
Like I never noticed it before because like the kind of roles he's in, you don't really. But there's this bit where he's standing next to this like normal sized guy, and he's pointing his gun down at him. Like that was like whoa.
The thief's there, like Idris Elba was like, "Why were you running then? And you killed the people." And he's like, "Have you seen yourself? You'd run if you were chasing you." And he's ripped. It's creepy.
He's huge.
Yeah.
He's a huge dude. Like never notice how huge he is.
Because in shows like Luther, he's always kind of hunched, and that's kind of his
Yeah.
character. But when he stands up, it's like, hey,
Yeah, like I never actually saw him. I assumed
mind
all
the
the others.
chandelier.
Yeah. It was just that one moment I was sort of suddenly realised, God, this guy's massive.
Yeah. And he also, like, bashes through some glass while he's chasing after the thief dude, and it's like,
That's cool.
he was just like, wow, he really wants this thief right now.
It's like, get back here.
It's like, oh, you locked the door? I'm coming through the window. And he does.
It's cool. It's cool. There were some cool bits in this.
It's got slightly redeeming qualities, but not enough to make the film amazing.
Not enough to make it escape a zero.
Yeah.
I think that brings us to an end. You got any more spoilers to talk about?
Nah. I think we should lay this one to rest.
I think we should put it to bed as well.
The spoilers are, like, enjoyable when there's good spoilers to talk about, but there's not so much.
Yeah. And so, I think that's it. 2D, out.
Go watch Hardcore Henry!